fitness. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it.
You got any of those hydrogens?
Yeah, yeah. You want a
Come on,
hydrogen
baby?
tablet?
Come on.
These are H2
Hook it
tabs.
up. I love these. I'm addicted.
I love these too, yeah.
Explain to people what these are instead of...
Hydrogen gas, I mean, this is probably my favorite biohack in the world because it'll cost you about $1 a day. These are called H2 Tab. You can get them at drinkhh2tab.com. You can actually read the science on it. I think there's two people in the world now. I mean, those that have read the science and take hydrogen gas, drink hydrogen water, and those that don't, or just haven't read the science. Because hydrogen gas, first of all, is it's the lightest element in the universe. It's also the most prevalent element in the universe. 10% of your body weight is hydrogen. I think, in fact, if you took hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, that's 96% of your mass. Okay, those four elements. So hydrogen's about 10% of your body weight. And hydrogen is not just an antioxidant. It's a selective antioxidant. Right? So if you look at oxidative stressors like nitric oxide or superoxide or hydrogen peroxide, okay, so all of these oxidative stressors, they can be good in certain amounts. Like you need a certain amount of nitric oxide, right, in your body, but too much nitric oxide is bad. Too much hydrogen peroxide bad. Too much superoxide is bad. So if you were to take an antioxidant like vitamin C, and take very, very high doses of antioxidants, this can be very bad for you because you're suppressing too much oxidation in the body. You're actually suppressing these oxidative stressors too much. Hydrogen, on the other hand, uses the body's homeostatic process to suppress inflammation. So in other words, it works through something called the NRF2 pathway. It affects a protein called NRF2, which moves into the DNA, binds to the DNA, and then the DNA spits out the instructions for catalase, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione. So in other words, you're actually using the body's regulatory system to actually control inflammation instead of externally trying to control inflammation. And the second thing it does is it targets the only oxidative free radical that I think all of the science points to as which is hydroxyl radical, having no use in the body. So it selectively targets that and regulates the rest of the inflammatory process by using the body's homeostasis. So I guess a very long-winded way of saying that hydrogen gas can go anywhere in the body. It reduces inflammation, improves circulation, improves memory. There's a really interesting study published on the Journal of Experimental Gerontology, and it was published in November of 2021. And most these clinical research studies, they'll look at younger populations, like healthier younger populations. But this actually looked at a 6-month study on hydrogen water versus non-hydrogen water in 70-year-old and older folks. And they used something called TET2 to measure methylation. They measured cognitive function, sleep scores, sit-stand ratios, how well they're able to sit and stand, telomere lengths in their chromosomes. And the really fascinating thing about this study is it was done during COVID. So these seniors were basically imprisoned, right? So they were not mobile, and the only difference between the groups that they controlled for was the presence of hydrogen water. At the end of this 6-month period during the lockdown, the control group had lost 11% in their telomeres. The non-control group had gained 4%. They had better short-term recall, better cognitive scores, better circulation, improvement in cardiac markers, improvement in inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein. I think it's the greatest biohack on earth. That and like some sea salt and some amino acids, like a perfect amino. I mean, just covering your bases. I think those are your foundational basics for optimal health.
And it's like delicious.